When's that going to happen?
I'll see if I can write out this.
What are you? Some sort of witch? What do you mean? Are you going to, when there's no more newspapers to read in print form? It's the beginning of an epic poem from the 18th century. What are you talking about when there's no more newspapers to read in print form?
We didn't have to operate like a business. We didn't have to think about, journalists particularly, didn't have to think about advertising, that dirty money-making side of the business.
Check out this chart. In 1985, there were about 63 million daily newspapers delivered each day in the U.S. Then, from 2001 to 2011, the number dropped 20% to just 44 million daily papers.
I don't think hard copies will ever be replaced, will they? I mean, I could see why they... What, you mean because of the environment or because computers, everyone will soon be online?
Over the next 10 years, you will see newspapers maintaining their print position but rapidly expanding into digital channels on smartphones, platforms like tablets, and indeed the desktop.
The newspaper industry in the U.S. has lost more than $40 billion in the last decade. And where did it go? Online, of course. Google's ad revenues are now more than twice what the newspaper industry brings in. So you'll see that blue line going up, that's Google. Digital ad sales. And the orange line going, that's my business. Newspaper print ad sales.
The Street Journal is on top in terms of print circulation, with an average weekday circulation of 2.4 million as of March 31st, up 12% from a year earlier. The New York Times has 1.2 million weekday readers, up 18% from a year before. While some papers have large digital audiences, the Washington Post, USA Today, and Chicago Tribune in particular are struggling to get a digital foothold.
One of my rules is we're moving from an either-or past to a both-and future.
Were you as surprised as I was that so many people were satisfied with the amount of coverage and only 1/3 thought there has been too much?
No, I wasn't surprised at all because I know your folks here at CNN are looking at the ratings every day. They're giving people what they want. I mean, that's the nature of the media world we live in. Consumers have lots of choices, and so they can choose to consume the news they want to choose. Editors don't get to decide anymore what people consume. People are choosing for themselves.
It's so loud out there. When you look for information, it's just like there's noise everywhere. You can go on Twitter, you can go on Facebook, you can go on a million different websites that are, everything from blogs to the websites of networks, and all of a sudden it's a matter of, it's overwhelming for anyone.
Back then, we knew how many papers we sold every day, but we had no way of measuring which stories were actually read. And that made it easier for us to convince ourselves that we knew best what readers wanted from us. So we went by our guts, and we thought they served us pretty well.
It is true that the notion that there is a private preserve for journalists and the rest of us are consumers is completely false. It goes against Megan Smith's rules, and it doesn't work. So journalists have to let go of the notion that they are the high priests of reporting and truth. I think we're in a much more participatory world. I actually think that's better, and we might have more information, but we have to think of ourselves maybe as more curators and moderators and not just as originators.